Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who. My anus is bleeding!
He can't sit down.
They call them dumps, big massive dumps.
Got a flame coming out of his butthole.
Beta male.
Get in a long tube with a bunch of demons.
Don't you ever do that. Don't you ever do that. I tell you don't do it.
Oops.
We're under attack. It is an alien force, not of this world. It's not human intelligence.
Bullshit.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Bullshit.
It's not a salami sandwich.
Disappointed!
Repeat the line.
Disappointed!
How you like that, boy?
No.
Give me a break.
Stop it.
Fired.
Fired! Fired!
Bitch, move it along.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station. Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's Thursday. We're gonna have some fun. All right. Look, everybody. We're gonna have a great show. Should be really fun. So please like and share the stream. We're gonna talk about Donald Trump and his mind powers. Yeah, I know, crazy, right?
And then they say, is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Very smart person. So, yeah, we're gonna have fun. We'll talk about that. Also, a Nazi rioter. Yeah, I'm gonna have a discussion about that because one of the Capitol rioters just got sentenced, and that's interesting. But also interesting is what he's been doing behind bars, allegedly. So that's an interesting discussion. As I said, Fox News is, of course, melting down as well when it comes to Stacey Abrams using science. Fun. And then we've got a Dr. Oz story that you're going to enjoy as well. So, again, we're just going to have a fun Thursday, dunk on some chuds, dispute some talking points, all that interesting stuff. So with that said, why don't we dive into the first story? Okay.
If you're the president of the United States, you can declassify just by saying it's declassified, even by thinking about it.
That was former President Donald Trump claiming that he could declassify documents just by thinking about it. Like, I don't know, perhaps telepathy or something. Oh, look, is he that unhinged? Yeah, definitely. Okay, so now, obviously, if you can declassify documents just by thinking about it, well, then the obvious question is, okay, well, how does anyone else know if you've declassified something? I mean, you have to tell them first, obviously, and you have to make an announcement like, hey, I've declassified these things. And of course, you can't do that after the fact. I mean, obviously, a good time to tell because the president does have broad declassification powers, a good time to tell people that you're declassifying things is generally, you would think, before the FBI has to raid you to get the documents. I'm just saying. But that would make sense. That said, we're going to continue covering nonsense here in this next video.
Is there a process? What was your process to declassify?
There doesn't have to be a process, as I understand it. You know, there's different people say different things, but as I understand, there doesn't have to be. If you're the president of the United States, you can declassify just by saying it's declassified, even by thinking about it, because you're sending it to Mar-a-Lago or to wherever you're sending it. And there doesn't have to be a process. There can be a process, but there doesn't have to be. You're the president. You make that decision. So when you send it, it's declassified. I declassified everything.
All right. So I declassified everything. Everything. Oh, okay. So now look, is he right that, again, the president can declassify things? Yes, he is, again, as I mentioned, broad declassification powers. But there's still like a informal protocol you might want to go through. And there's a reason for that. For example, some of the human intelligence reports, which concerns, you know, sources such as informants or spies that might still be in use. Well, you know, if you declassify these documents, depending on how you do it, you could potentially put those sources at risk, right? At risk of either detection or death, etc. And then maybe even create a diplomatic incident. Now, you don't want to do that. So now if you're going to declassify something, you would want to, you know, inform the relevant agency that, hey, you know, look, we're gonna declassify this source of information, or this information that came from one of your sources. Say it be, you know, say it's like the CIA or FBI, etc. And that now that we are declassifying it, your source will be at risk. So please, you know, make the necessary preparations, right? Because you don't want that information traced back to the source if it's a source that you're still actively using. Okay, so understand that that is why there is that informal process to protect your intelligence gathering, you know, resources, right? And don't create a mess. That said, we're talking about Donald Trump, okay? And so
it's not human intelligence.
There's no intelligence there. He doesn't care about our intelligence sources, doesn't care about, obviously, you know, he thinks the FBI and all that is like, well, it's the deep state. You know, we have the deep state here, and full, you know, Alex Jones nonsense about what he actually believes the government is. And so he doesn't care about our informants. He doesn't care about diplomacy, or he doesn't care about any of the messes that declassification could potentially have, because he doesn't think. He doesn't think about these things. Okay? No, his only concern is, they're mine. I'm going to take them to Mar-a-Lago. I want them because they belong to me. Well, look, I personally don't really care if he keeps like the Kim Jong-un love letters. I don't care, right? That's not what's at, you know, stake here. No, we're talking about national security secrets here, okay? And again, potentially compromising intelligence sources, foreign intelligence sources specifically, right? And so on that again makes me believe that he's not keeping these things as souvenirs. No. I personally believe, even though I have absolutely no evidence, this is my conspiracy theory, right? That he kept them so he could sell them and make a personal profit. Knowing Trump the way that I do, well, I mean, that seems like incredibly obvious. He doesn't care. He wants to make money at any cost. But again, I don't have any evidence. I don't have any proof of that. So I'm not going to say that that's a fact. I'm just saying that's what I believe. Okay? That said, when it comes to I declassified everything, well, there was no standing order to declassify the documents before he took them. The only time he claimed to have declassified documents was, you know, when he was on his, you know, favorite
Truth Essential
favorite platform, okay, and where he posted it. But again, that was when he was no longer president, no longer had any authority that was vested in the executive branch. And so, look, if there had been a standard order, then yes, there would be records of that. That's fine. Those records would have been produced along with the list of items that had been declassified. that would have been fair, okay? But there is no record. Posting it on True Social after the fact does not make it official. But again, the biggest issue here in this conversation with Hannity that was absolutely ignored, and of course I think that's by design, is the fact that none of the 3 criminal laws that were cited in the search warrant for Mar-a-Lago as the basis for the investigation depended on whether documents technically obtained classified information or contained classified information. Okay. These 3 laws are as follows. The first one is Espionage Act, which criminalizes the unauthorized retention or disclosure of information related to national defense that could be used to harm the United States or aid a foreign adversary. It's pretty obvious, right? And some of those documents were apparently nuclear related to the nuclear weapons of a unidentified country. So that's very important information. The second one is Section 1519, and it deals with obstruction, the act of destroying or concealing documents or records with the intent to impede, obstruct, or influence the investigation or proper administration of any matter within the jurisdiction of federal departments or agencies. Again, pretty clear, right? The third law, Section 2071, criminalizes the theft or destruction of government documents. That is, documents that do not belong to Donald Trump. It makes that a crime punishable in part by up to 3 years in prison per offense for anyone with custody of any record or document from federal court or public office to willfully and unlawfully conceal, remove, mutilate, falsify, or destroy. So, look, these documents, many of them were not his. Classified or not, they did not belong to Donald Trump. They were not his, which is why Trump's lawyers are not actually making the classified, not classified argument in court at all. They're not talking about it at all. In fact, look, I think it was the special master, Raymond Deary's is like, hey, look, we are going to talk about the classification, so you might want to provide proof, some sort of evidence that you classified it or declassified it, these documents. And so just so we can get you on the record, right? And the Trump lawyers are like, no, we don't want to do that. No, we refuse. We refuse. Can't do it. And so there's a reason, again, that they have resisted that judge's proposal that they submit a sworn declaration or affidavit about any of this supposed declassification action. And they're doing so because they would have to lie about it. In order to protect their client, they would have to lie. You can't do that under oath. There are consequences. It would be punished, perhaps disbarred, even. And so, look, as much as Clown Shoes, his lawyers are, and they are, they're the cheapest, probably you pay for lawyers, right? Which is basically nothing. Because if you're going to work for Donald Trump, remember, as a lawyer, just know that he's not going to pay you. So, these lawyers are probably getting paid in clout or whatever. And even so, in working for basically free for Donald Trump, they don't want to lose their licenses. Or worse, they don't want to get thrown in prison. So the entire conversation over whether he declassified these things or not isn't really relevant here. This is a distraction from the fact that he did allegedly unlawfully take government documents and hid them at Mar-a-Lago and then obstructed attempts to retrieve those documents. Those are serious crimes. Nothing to do with classification. So, anyway, let's move on. There's more to that insane interview. And again, more fun. All right. You'll see where this is going. during his interview with Sean Hannity, former President Donald Trump said a lot of hilariously stupid things. For example, I can declassify documents just by thinking about them. Yes, use that telepathic brain, but also that the FBI wasn't actually at Mar-a-Lago to find stolen classified government documents, but actually that they were there to find something else.
There's also a lot of speculation because of what they did, the severity of the FBI coming and raiding Mar-a-Lago. Were they looking for the Hillary Clinton emails that were deleted, but they are around someplace? Were they looking for the spying on Trump's...
You're not saying you had it.
No, they may be saying, they may have thought that it was in there.
Okay.
And a lot of people said the only thing that would give the kind of severity that they showed by actually coming in and raiding with many, many people is the Hillary Clinton deal, the Russia stuff, or... I mean, there are a number of things. The spying on Trump's campaign. So they spied on my campaign.
They spied on my campaign. Okay. Ridiculous, right? But okay, we're talking about butter emails. That's what it is. Butter emails. Fun. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And even in the middle of that, you could hear Sean Hannity being like, wait, what? What are you talking about? What, you had the emails? You had Hillary's emails? No, why would he have them? Why would the FBI believe that the emails were at Mar-a-Lago? And furthermore, why would they actually care? Again, there's nothing illegal that was done with Hillary Clinton's server. Now, that said, was it improper? Yes. Was it a possible security risk? Absolutely. But when they looked into it, they found that she did not break any actual laws, even though, again, what she did was incredibly improper. Now, Trump, however, is accused of breaking the Espionage Act, doing obstruction of justice, and stealing, hiding, or destroying government property. Again, he does have a history of ripping up documents and flushing them down the toilet.
People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times.
Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why they were flushing those toilets. No one will ever know, except for the plumber who found documents. But anyway, look, that said, this entire conspiracy theory is nonsensical when you compare this excuse, right, that they weren't there for the documents, they were there for Hillary's emails, when you compare it to the rest, especially the fact that he has claimed before that the FBI had planted evidence. So let me get this straight, because this it's beginning to be difficult to follow. So according to Trump, the FBI planted documents at Mar-a-Lago that were not actually classified because he declassified them all and then took them, even though they weren't classified, because Donald Trump says that they were his all along. And that's, again, why he took them, because he declassified the things that they planted while simultaneously searching for Hillary's emails and the Russia stuff and the evidence that he had, if any, of Obama, they're spying on Trump, that for some reason they believe that he would also have in his possession. But when you think about it, if he had any of that stuff in his possession, especially Hillary's emails, the 33,000 supposed deleted emails, then he would have revealed them, because lock her up. And that's why Trump is totally innocent of everything. I'm just trying to get this straight. Do I have this right? It's so, there's so much to follow here. There's so many different excuses. Honestly, this feels like a 5-year-old who lied about getting into the cookie jar or breaking a lamp, right? And then, in order to cover for themselves, no, I got it was a dog, it was this, it was that, and then it was this thing over here, and I didn't do it though. Honestly, they just have to keep building on this lie, and in the process, they make this lie even more and more outlandish and completely unbelievable. I mean, honestly, what's next? What's next? And the funniest thing here about all of this is that all he had to do to avoid all of this crap was just to give back the documents that the National Archives had requested over months and months and months. That's it. There would have not been a need for an FBI search of Mar-a-Lago. They wouldn't have had to do this. There wouldn't be any criminal investigations, no obstruction. This could have been completely avoided. He could have been like, first, like, oh, look, sure, I didn't have time to go through the records. We're a bit messy in keeping our records because we were too busy making America great again and all that stuff when I was leaving. So just give us a little bit of time. We'll look through them. We'll sort through them. We'll send back the stuff that you're requesting. Fine. Okay. And now, of course, the lawyers did say that, but either they were lying or, told to lie, or they just honestly didn't know. And they believed Trump when he said that they had sent them back. Now, they did send back some of the stuff, but then decided at some point, no, never mind. I'm not going to send any more back. I'm going to keep the rest. Then we're going to lie about it. Ultimately, this is a problem of his own creation. That's really all there is to it. Again, could have avoided all of this if he had just done what they had requested. But no, he didn't care. He had to make a fuss. He had to claim things that didn't belong to him. And now, well, we are where we are. That's it. Sad. Baby. Okay. A convicted January 6th Capitol rioter with a history of extremist ideology was apparently recruiting people behind bars. So now this is according to a report from Law and Crime. On Friday of last week, they reported that Timothy Hale Cusinelli has been trying to organize extremists while in jail. Now, to do what? Well, to find that out, prosecutors have pointed out in a sentencing memo that Hale Cusinelli is a neo-Nazi. In fact, here's what they wrote in that report. Quote, "It is well established in the record at this point that Hale Cusinelli subscribes to white supremacist and Nazi sympathizer ideologies that drive his enthusiasm for another civil war and form the basis of the court's pretrial determination that Hale Cusinelli was a danger to the community." They had argued that, by the way, since he allegedly is a danger to the community, that he deserved a longer sentence. Now, this is Justice Department Attorney Catherine E. Fifield. Now, hold on here. So, are you telling me that guy might be a neo-Nazi? What? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. It could be. But hey, to be fair, it's just a picture. It's a picture. Doesn't prove anything, right? Maybe cosplaying. Maybe he really just likes the mustache. Maybe he just wants to take the mustache back. I don't know. But no, and somehow, what, the key to doing that was located somewhere in the Capitol? No. Look, during his trial, FBI Special Agent Chris Diebert had shown dozens of text messages he extracted from Hale Cusinelli's phone, showing his exact feelings about certain things. The texts, which began in November, as the November 2020 election was unfolding, they captured Hale Cusinelli's belief in unfounded claims of fraud promoted by former President Donald Trump's campaign. They also showed the regular use of racial slurs to describe election workers and then Senator Kamala Harris. And of course, his belief in an upcoming civil war. Okay, well, for now, right there, I mean, it kind of looks like the average or sounds like the average MAGA chud with a really bad haircut and mustache. Really unfortunate. But seems like typical MAGA guy, right? No. Turns out, according to one Navy seaman who spoke with investigators, he recalled Hale Cusinelli telling them that if he was a Nazi, he would kill, quote, all the Jews and eat them for breakfast, as well as babies born with deformities or disabilities. That sounds kind of Nazi-ish. And then, according to a petty officer during his trial, he recalled Hale Cusinelli telling him, quote, that Hitler should have finished the job. Well, I think we figured that one out. Not really that big of a mystery after all. Yeah, it looks like a Nazi. If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, might be a duck. Or quacks like a duck, I should say. But that said, his love of Nazis was so well known by the court that it was considered to be inadmissible evidence against him because they thought that the court would be too unfair. Quote, the visceral reaction to the defendant's statements is exactly the kind of response that would induce the jury into finding him guilty. And of course, find him guilty they did. And of course, by the way, there's a reason I'm doing the story today is because he was sentenced today. We'll get to that. That said, back to the report of what he was doing in jail. Sources inside the jail say that Hale Cusinelli had used a power of fundraising organization spearheaded by his adoptive aunt to organize inmates and curry favor and organize them, of course, towards, white supremacist and extremist ideologies. Sorry. One inmate said the situation was like the movie Mean Girls, but with, quote, racist anti-Semitic extremists. Well, there you go. So now, look, that's a problem, okay? Organizing people in prison and trying to get them, into his extremist ideology, yeah, that is a big problem, and it makes me very uncomfortable. That said, what is the solution to it? I don't know, honestly. It's not illegal to be a Nazi in this country, sadly. So you can't really punish him extra based on that, as much as we'd like to. And you can't put him in solitary confinement just for that. I mean, again, it's solitary confinement's literal torture. So these are the sorts of situations that kind of test progressive resolve on criminal justice. Everything in me right now wants the court to throw him under the jail for not only attacking our country, of course, on January 6th and trying to overthrow it, but also just, again, for being a neo-Nazi. This person wants groups of people murdered. He wants civil war in the United States. He wants an entire ethnic group just completely thrown out of the country. It's insane. But at the same time, do I believe in prison reform? Yes. I do believe that solitary confinement is torture. I think we should get rid of that. And so I'm not really sure what exactly they should do to that guy. Again, is recruiting people to white supremacy a crime in prison? No, because it's certainly not a crime outside of prison. If it was, about half the Republican Party's politicians would be in prison with him. And so at the end of the day, again, you just have to be like, hey, it has to come down to the law, despite our personal feelings. And according to the law, what he did when invading the Capitol building on January 6th is the only thing that should matter at this point. Unless, of course, he was also doing, violence in prison, which apparently he did not do. And so, look, Hale Cusinelli was convicted of 5 crimes back in May, 4 of which were misdemeanors: entering or remaining in a restricted building or grounds, disorderly or destructive conduct in a restricted building or grounds, disorderly conduct in a Capitol building, as well as parading, demonstrating, or picketing in a Capitol building. A 5th, obstruction of an official proceeding, happens to be a felony. He was sentenced today to 4 years in federal prison. Prosecutors originally argued for 78 months or 6.5 years. due to the fact that he is considered to be a danger because of his white supremacist, anti-Semitic views. Now, they didn't, again, give him that full sentence. He got 4 years, as well as 36 months of supervised release once freed from custody. During his sentencing, Hale Cusinelli told the judge, quote, "I disgraced my uniform and I disgraced the country." Well, for sure. Which uniform, though, honestly? Because it seems like you've got more than one. Just saying. Now, his lawyers, by the way, had previously argued that he should only get about 20 months, saying that, oh, no, Hale Cusinelli, he's all talk. Distasteful as his comments have been, and that he regrets his actions that day and would apologize for them. But then why is he recruiting people to white nationalism or white supremacy when he was behind bars? All talk, I know. He even claimed that he never intended to obstruct Congress and didn't actually know the Capitol building was where Congress did business. Quote, "I know this sounds idiotic, but I'm from New Jersey. I feel like an idiot. It sounds idiotic, and it is." Well, he wouldn't be wrong about that. He is an idiot, but don't blame New Jersey, okay? New Jersey didn't make you stupid. New Jersey is a lovely place filled with lovely people who are not idiots. You know, again, lovely place, lovely people, except for you, because you're a moron and you're an anti-Semitic, white supremacist racist. Just saying. So, no, what happened here is just another situation where you play stupid games and you win stupid prizes. And there you go. It's as simple as that. All right. Get the next segment ready. Right-wingers are melting down after Stacey Abrams used science to correctly point out that 6-week-old fetuses are actually not independent human beings, and therefore the government should not be allowed to prevent the mother from seeking an abortion. Here's what she said on a panel event in Georgia on Tuesday.
There is no such thing as a heartbeat at 6 weeks. It is a manufactured sound designed to convince people that men have the right to take control of a woman's body away from her.
Okay, so now that's what she said. No such thing as a heartbeat at 6 weeks. It is a manufactured sound designed to convince people that men have the right to take control of a woman's body. So now Fox News immediately took this video and accused her, and this is great, they accused her of being a science-denying conspiracy theorist like QAnon. Take a look.
This is QAnon plus level of conspiracy. She says that ultrasound machines were a conspiracy made up by men to control women's bodies. That ultrasound machines that can hear a fetal heartbeat at 6 weeks are simply a conspiracy. She says it's not true. You can't hear a heartbeat, and the machine is lying to you because the machine has been designed by men in order to control women's bodies. I want to be clear. The machine and medicine are, in Stacey Abrams' estimation, conspiracies against women.
So, look, it's really cute when Republicans attempt to use science. It really is. I mean, they're trying so hard, and yet they still, they just can't seem to get it. Not only that, but it's even more interesting when they try to paint people as conspiracy theorists for literally saying things that are true. Again, because it's true. Okay, so now, according to both doctors and scientists, the sound that the machine makes to, simulate a heartbeat is, again, literally made by the machine. There's nothing counterfactual to what she said. At 6 weeks, the machine simulates the noise that heart valves make. That's it. According to Dr. Nisha Verma, an OBGYN who specializes in abortion care and works at the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, says this: when I use a stethoscope to listen to an adult patient's heart, the sound that I'm hearing is caused by the opening and closing of the cardiac valves. At 6 weeks of gestation, those valves don't exist. Oh. The flickering that we're seeing on the ultrasound that early in the development of the pregnancy is actually electrical activity, and the sound that you hear is actually manufactured by the ultrasound machine. Dr. Jennifer Kearns, an OBGYN and associate professor at the University of California, San Francisco, says this: what we're really detecting is a grouping of cells that are initiating some electrical activity. In no way is this detecting a functional cardiovascular system or a functional heart. There is nothing specific and meaningful and relevant about the detection of cardiac activity at this gestation that implies anything that's relevant for women's health or for pregnancies. It is but one indicator among many that a pregnancy may or may not be progressing within some expected milestones. Other doctors and scientists also confirm that while a fetus has cardiac activity at 6 weeks, a functional heart does not yet exist at this stage. Conspiracy theorist. QAnon Plus. What is this like? Is that like Disney Plus or Hulu Plus? Is it QAnon without the ads? Is that what it is? I mean, come on. Really? Really? No, it's amazing. Again, the stuff that they make, the absolute utter projection that we see. Again, their science. They don't believe in science, Republicans. But look, here's the thing, right? What conservatives are doing is they're playing the game about feelings, right? And there's a reason they do it, that they try to evoke a emotional response in people over this issue. It happens to work. Now, people obviously want to protect children. It's literally hardwired into our brains, hardwired into our DNA to protect our offspring. I get it, right? Which is why for decades, Republicans actually figured out, or I should say why decades ago, Republicans figured out that they could use that issue, the issue of abortion specifically, in order to try to win elections by tricking people into voting for them. Because in reality, all the Republican Party wants to do is to funnel money to the rich. That's originally the entire point of the Republican Party. To deregulate corporations and cut taxes for wealthy people. The whole point. And so that's when, it took a couple of years for this so-called moral majority to hit on that idea, to think, right. Oh, here's what we can do. Turns out it's not really popular with the American people, with the working class, to, try to funnel all the money to the rich. Can't really run on that. Not really very popular. I know. Let's do the abortion thing. Let's start lying about, fetal development. This entire issue. We're going to manipulate people emotionally into supporting us. That's why you see a lot of single issue voters, that their only issue is we're pro-life. We're pro-life. We're going to protect the babies. We're going to protect the babies. Look, here's the thing though. Okay. It's funny because they actually, in reality, don't want to protect the babies. That's why they're not in favor of things like universal child care. They're not in favor of things like welfare and food stamps and ensuring that, people can't rampage into schools, with guns that they can easily get. They want to make sure that those people can get those guns, those weapons very easily. It's not about protecting children, okay? No, it's generally about protecting industry profits. I mean, for example, in order to do universal child care, health care, things like that, well, they'd have to, tax the rich. They'd have to tax the rich a little bit more and redistribute some of the wealth. No, that hurts their donors. They don't want to do that, right? And so, by the way, if you were to actually increase the help for pregnant women in this country, you would reduce the amount of mortality, infant mortality in this country. You would reduce the amount of child hunger in this country, but they don't want to do that. Understand, because that would harm their donors, the people that they ultimately serve. Rich people, corporations. Okay. For the gun issue, again, their main issue is let's protect gun manufacturers, because whenever there's a school shooting, people get afraid, understandably so, and they want more guns. And so who makes money? Gun manufacturers. Look, it really comes down to when you look at the policies of the Republican Party, they really serve two different things. Again, it's the number one thing is helping corporations and the rich, right? And the second thing is to, again, make people afraid and miserable. Make people's lives materially worse. And somehow that helps them. Because then, of course, they can blame it on government. Oh, it's the government actually making it worse. No, it's corporations and slimy politicians. And so, yes, they figured this out. And they've used this entire, pro-life issue, so-called pro-life issue, as just a way to manipulate people's emotions. Now, by the way, getting back to the science here, the term fetal heartbeat, and we've seen this in Republican bills all over the country. That's not an actual clinical term. For example, much like a stomach bug for the flu, right? But they use these, phrases and terms. Doctors will even sometimes use these phrases and terms when they're relating to patients, to simplify things for the patients and make things easier to understand. Because nobody wants to sit there and hear the long, drawn-out scientific explanation of what's really going on with the ultrasound. No, you want to get in, you want to get out. The nurse doesn't have time for, that explanation. Neither does the doctor. They've got things to do, patients to see. And so, unfortunately, the side effect of simplifying the science and explanations, well, I mean, it leads to people, unfortunately, being able to be more easily manipulated by propaganda, by bad actors, disinformation, and of course, just pure ignorance. But to call what she said QAnon light, or I'm sorry, not QAnon light, QAnon plus, it's the most delicious projection from those who at the same time regularly promote QAnon narratives. For an example, Tucker Carlson has been doing a lot of segments on Boston Children's Hospital, falsely claiming that these doctors are doing hysterectomies on children, which is, again, not true. So not only are they, attacking the doctors, but they're also attacking trans children. And that has ended up leading to death and bomb threats against that very hospital. Again, there's absolutely no evidence that this is happening, but they don't care. They're making things up, then they report it, and the audience eats it up. They don't question it at all. So, all right. Boston Children's Hospital is world renowned. Indeed. Indeed. Indeed it is. Moving on. Let's go to the last story. TV personality and candidate Dr. Oz, his campaign is in a little bit of trouble. According to the Daily Beast's Roger Sollenberger, who looked at some of the emails and text messages from the Oz Senate campaign, the ones that they're, of course, sending to supporters, well, they have concluded that the campaign is in a little bit of a panic. Interesting. So now, Sullenberger noted that Oz has spammed out at least 23 different fundraising emails since Monday, and nearly all of them are painting a dire portrait of Oz being outraised, outspent, and outpolled by his opponent, John Fetterman. An email sent on Monday titled, "It would be humiliating." Would it, though? I don't know, it looks like you're being humiliated right now. Says that with just hours until my daily deadline, Democrats are still massively outraising Republicans. And right now, Democrats are flattening Republicans in Senate races across the country. And maybe it's because, I don't know, Republicans are running shitty campaigns. Or just terrible candidates. I mean, you have Herschel Walker. He can't say a sentence. Not a complete sentence, at least. I mean, every time the guy opens his mouth, it's worse than person, woman, man, camera, TV. You know? No, that would actually make more sense. Dr. Oz, though, it's just incredibly cringeworthy. Now, that email concluded, "I'm running out of time." In fact, multiple emails also contain the message, "Dr. Oz is behind," and then show supporters showing Oz showing supporters polls showing Oz trailing Fetterman. The day before, Oz gave supporters what he framed as insider information from a quote-unquote emergency finance meeting. "They told me more bad news," adding that without a major fundraising push today, we have to make some serious changes to the campaign, including cutting ads. Which, by the way, another report noted that Fetterman is absolutely crushing Dr. Oz on the number of campaign ads on Facebook. So their social media spending is just, I mean, excellent compared to Oz, who continues to be out of money. In fact, the email said, "Yeah, this is bad. This could literally cost us the win so close to the election." So why don't we just stop here and kind of soak that in a bit for a minute here. Smell that? It's in the air. It's desperation. Not a good smell. Other emails are depicting the Oz campaign as being massively cash-strapped at every month. Fundraising texts from the primary have said that Dr. Oz missed fundraising goals from February, March, and April. After the primary, texts have claimed that the Oz campaign has come up short for deadlines in May, mid-July, July. Somehow, with only 4,328 to go on July 26th and August, in a message last Tuesday, Oz complained that he's been missing his goals over and over again. Now, obviously, look, I think there's a reason here. Fetterman's a good candidate. I mean, his social media game is top notch. And actually seems, to be a pretty relatable person. Whereas Oz, he looks like a stuffed shirt, basically. Sort of the whole elitist, kind of person. Again, super wealthy TV doctor. And by the way, I'm not saying that he's a terrible candidate just because I disagree with him politically. I do. No, when it comes to campaigns, he's terrible at it. Remember, I want to show you one of my favorite Dr. Oz ads that his team actually put out that they thought was a good idea.
Let's pull back his hoodie and examine what's in his head. Looks like he has some screws loose. What's this? Fetterman wants to release 1/3 of all prisoners. That's crazy! Spend more tax dollars, everything will cost more. That's nuts. Slow energy production, gas prices will skyrocket. That's ridiculous. Socialized medicine? Where do you get these crazy ideas? Now it makes sense. Better close it up. John Fetterman is crazier than you think.
That's my favorite ad. Why? Because, look, you look at that and you're like, actually, that's not crazy. Oh, he likes pot? So do the vast majority of Americans. And in fact, Fetterman has said, hey, if I win, I'm going to go and tell Joe Biden, decriminalize or legalize marijuana. Again, incredibly popular with the American people. And yet that ad's like, what's this? It's something that's incredibly popular that a lot of people don't want to be criminalized anymore in this country. I know. What's this? Oh, weird. Oh, it's crazy. And the same thing, like letting people out of prison for nonviolent drug offenses. That's actually a good idea. We're overcrowding our prisons with nonviolent offenders who are caught doing drugs. That doesn't make any sense. That's crazy. That's crazy. And then of course there's, he's gonna give you socialized medicine, healthcare. Wait a minute, that actually sounds pretty good. Again, Fetterman is quoted saying, healthcare is a fundamental human right, just like housing, food, and education. All of that sounds amazing. I don't know about you, but I like that stuff. And look, on healthcare, by the way, 67% of the American people support providing Medicare to every American, including 69% of independents and 87% of Democrats. And then I love that last part where shows Bernie Sanders, right? Bernie Sanders happens to be the most popular politician in America. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's ridiculous. If anything, Americans don't like, it's dealing with insurance companies that continue to raise premiums and deny health care to people. So that's just one example of his cringy, ridiculous ads that actually make Fetterman look cooler. The other ones, of course, I've talked about this before, his cringy crudité ad. Like you think that people in Pennsylvania are going to know what crudité is? Crudité is, sorry. You think they're going out and buying crudité? No, they're buying veggie trays if they can afford it. And so again, that kind of stuff, being completely and totally out of touch, attacking, of course, Fetterman for having a stroke, which is just incredibly low and dirty, as well as, being just a slimy guy who has sold the world snake oil, the fake cure after fake cure for years and years and years, selling out. I mean, it's no surprise that his campaign is just an absolute and utter disaster. They are in complete panic mode because, once again, terrible candidate, terrible campaign. And you know what? A Democrat that actually fights back as well. So to give credit to a lot of credit to John Fetterman as well for actually running a good campaign and being on the side of a lot of the popular progressive positions. Again, he could be more to the left on some of the issues, like, for example, Israel. But hey, you know what? I'd support him. Yeah, if I were in Pennsylvania, I'd vote for Fetterman easily. No candidate's perfect, but again, Fetterman, it's a choice between Fetterman and Oz. Obviously, Fetterman. Okay. So anyway, be a doctor and not run on Medicare for all? Like, dude, the optics alone. I know, right? And I think I had talked about the issue before, right? Where Oz had previously supported healthcare mandates and then had backtracked on that position because he's running in a Republican, election. And I didn't even get to the stuff where he had actually been in huge support of Donald Trump during the primary and then had distanced himself afterwards. And so there's a lot to that campaign where he's just absolutely messed up in so many different ways. And of course, the polling, reflects that. All right. That said, why don't we wrap up the show, Dr. Ass? Jeez. Oh, yeah. As Oz confuses Wegmans, Redners by calling it Wegners. I have seen that. That account's pretty funny, by the way. All right. Let me go here to Twitch and thank some gifted subs here. Cerberus Alpha Gaming, thank you for gifting 3 tier 1 subs. Appreciate that. Hunger Games 1989, thank you for gifting 2 tier 1 subs. Really appreciate that. And Raw Bear Dragon, thank you for cheering 100 bits. Really, really appreciate that. Yeah, it's supposed to be Wegmans, but Wegners. All right. What about Gabby Mathis? Thank you for the very kind $5. Really, really appreciate that. Death Metal 114. Dr. Oz is an idiot. True. All right. Let's see. Making fun of a person for having a stroke needs to have his medical license revoked. My son's was med for 30 days. It's $1,300 a month. My diabetes shot is $1,200 a month for 4 shots, not to mention other meds cost. Each of us total about $2,000 a month. You can call me Jess. That is horribly expensive. And honestly, it's a travesty of our country to not be able to make it so that people can afford medications they need to live. I mean, it's pretty horrid. We can do a lot better, for the American people than what we're doing right now. I mean, so many other countries have figured it out. But you know what's different between the United States and other countries? They haven't legalized corruption the way that we have in this country. I mean, we have unlimited lobbying, unlimited money in our politics, buying off politicians from both sides with massive amounts of lobbyist money. Legal, by the way, all illegal bribes. That's the difference. That is the number one issue. And unfortunately, no one in mainstream media is going to talk about it. Nobody in corporate media is going to talk about it because, again, these companies, those very same companies, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, MSNBC, supposedly a leftist, right? Supposedly on the left. They won't talk about this issue. They won't touch it. And that's because they make all this money from advertising. I mean, where does this, corporate special interest money go to? It goes to making ads that they buy airtime on corporate media. So yes, you absolutely have to get rid of that. Get rid of that private money. Undo Citizens United, undo all the other related money in politics decisions, including some of the very early ones that happened back in the 70s. That's the only way that we can actually, not only have media be able to talk about these issues, which is incredibly important but also to be able to actually do something about these issues. All right. Anyway, all the farm ads. Yeah, I know, right? Like you watch TV, and there is nothing but pharmaceutical ads, nothing but drug ads. I mean, it really is amazing. Brad Bloom, it turns out maybe applying a profit motive to every facet of existence wasn't a good idea. Well, not for normal people, no, but it's been a real good idea for corporations and, corporate media. Okay. Well, anyway, that's my rant. For the Twitch audience, we're going to raid. We'll do a James from the Internet raid. So, thank you for joining here. Really, really appreciate it. For everybody else, please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Check out the videos, of course. As usual, if you want to support us, go to patreon.com/JeffWaldorf and help out the show that way. Support us that way. And of course, there's other ways like subscribe, share, do all that wonderful stuff. Thank you. All right. Love you all. Have a great night and see you tomorrow. Remember, change begins with you.
There's insanity in the control room.
It's the devil, okay? It's not human intelligence! We're under attack!
Obama!
What do the Russians have to see? Because you can never handle it.
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.
Disappointed!